Okay.
But we also understand
they are not taking semester exams.
They are taking semester exams.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the entire, the end game. You must have done the system where you may have been familiar with Bubra at the university, where we're told that it used to be very difficult because you do
a whole year.
Yes, and then you go and write the exam. And you have these children who have to break for so long and having to come back and recalibrate, all of that. There are genuine difficulties.
Actually, not that long. Let me kind of describe how the whole system works. You have Form 2 and Form 3 students together with a green track beginning at the same time. And the Form 2 and Form 3, because the semester system they stay in school for 4 months. The only time they will come home is the brief Christmas break. So they have 4 months of work done. And that 4 months translates into 81 instructional days. And that is where the confusion has come from. I was in a show when somebody was dividing the 162 by 30 and concluding that, hey, the students are spending just 5 months in school. No. Instructional month is about 19 days, 20 days at most, because you take away all the weekend and holidays. So when we talk about 81 days, you are talking about 4 months, calendar month. So if you're in Form 2, Form 3, you go to school and spend 4 months instead of breaking after 3 months and coming back because there are only 2 vacations. So you do 4 months, then you break for 2 months, and then you come back and do another 4 months. Okay. And then you do the last vacation before you go to the next academic year. So Form 2 and Form 3, or if you are in a single track school, 4 months, 2 months of break, 4 months, 2 months of break, you are done for the year, single track school. If you happen to be in a double track school, the Form 2 and the Form 3s go 4 months non-stop. And then they take their 2 month break and go another 4 months non-stop and take their 2.
Okay.
I've seen
you note down the concerns raised in such a neat chronological order. So if you can keep it focused
on that and deal with them
one after the other.
Okay. Right. Yeah, so I'll briefly mention that when we talk about double track, the Form 1s, who are in the double track schools, where we have 2 groups. And it's scheduled in such a way that they will space in the school. So the green track goes for 2 months and break. But their semester is not over. And they take their 2 month break. So after they finish the 2 months, the gold track comes, and the gold track goes 4 months non-stop. But in the middle of the gold track's 2 months, the green track comes back and joins them. At that time, Form 2 and Form 3 are done and they're on vacation. So the school is virtually empty. A school that had 3,000 students will only have 1,500 students. So if they have 2 dining halls, schedules and other things, so this is how you decongest the schools. And at any point in time, do you have more students there than the previous year? Okay. So then we go to the issue of quality. You see, quality, if you've done some education policy, you're going to realize that quality of education depends on a number of things. One of them is if you have a very good accreditation regime. In Ghana, we chose to have school inspections instead of accreditation. Okay? So you don't have an external body that looks at how you are doing like we do at the university level, whether you are public or private. So it's the school inspecting. So they inspect themselves. And the law then said, no, there should be an independent entity, and that's the National Inspectorate Board that has been set up to look at. So you have a school inspector who's supposed to inspect the schools in order to ensure quality, at least from outside. But the quality within the school, in terms of internal checks, you really have to have the way the classroom is arranged, the way the teachers teach, so that children can retain what the teachers teach them. We are doing what the people call chew, pour, pass, and forget. And I call that chew, pour, fail, and forget. Because if 65% of your students are failing, how can you call it chew, pour, pass, and forget? Chew, pour, fail, and forget. Children are not retaining the learning in such a way that when the exams start, they don't have to memorize, and they can still do well. So before double track, the system has not been performing. So Dr. Odro, from University of Cape Coast, what I'm saying that the system has not been performing. And my sister talked about quality. How do we improve quality so that the public school students are not disadvantaged? You see, if we do not have a national assessment program, there's no way we're going to improve quality in our public schools. Why do I say that? In this country, before you know that students of a particular school are not doing well, it's after 11 years. 2 years of KG, 6 years of primary, 3 years of junior high, then BECE comes. And that is where everybody says, oh, the student didn't do well. 11 years. You don't have, we've started pilot EGRA, an assessment for English and mathematics. And that is what the Minister of Education is now proposing to roll out nationwide. That means every single student will do assessment in primary 2, primary 4, primary 6. Why is that important? If they do the primary 2 assessment, the nation will get the data and say our primary 2 students are not reading at grade level. Then the school has an opportunity, the head teacher has an opportunity to ensure that there is intervention in primary 3. We go back in primary 4 and say, how is the nation doing? Are students reading? Are they doing mathematics well? They are not. You have another year intervention. By the way, if you happen to be the head of a school where all primary 2 students fail the test, it's about time we talk about intervention for you or you're out.
Okay.
So at the Minister of Education.
So maybe that's where the licensure exams comes in.
So that, you see, the licensure, people talk about why should I go and take an exam? You see, if you get your degree, I cannot ask University of Cape Coast to upgrade your degree. But if you have a license, I can always ask you to upgrade yourself so that you can get another license. So the licensure become key. So there are a number of quality issues. You talk about facilities. If the
but before the facilities, as they spoke about the quality from Professor Odro, Rotedi Dankwa, they mentioned the about 9,000 teachers that you are going to bring on board.
Yes.
How was this planned? And how is it going to be executed in a way that will benefit, the students?
Good. I think this was what was done. We wanted to avoid a situation where all the new teachers are put on one track. So the schools did their timetable. For the first time, they came together. It was a workshop style. They brought a headmaster academic and a team of teachers to Accra. We went through using a software, developed their schedule for them, and they placed new teachers on all the tracks. Form 2, Form 3, Green and Gold will have some of the new teachers. And then they were able to determine how many teachers they need for each school and for each track. So with that done, the recruitment is then looking at how do I get, let's say, 10 math teachers for Achimota or 5 math science teachers for Presec. So that is how the recruitment is. It's based on the need at the school, based on the various skills or expertise that is needed, and that is how the recruitment is going. I know I took a loss in the various areas because I talk about how long the double track would take. We estimate 5 to 7 years. And I appreciate my sister's concern that in this country, people say temporary and become permanent. So we as politicians are not very well trusted.
Okay.
But we have a plan. And the plan is very simple. Instead of, you see, Get Fund is the organization that gets the tax dollars or tax cedis from all of us and use it in construction, in building schools. If you go to any school in this country, whether it's basic, especially secondary and university, there are so many uncompleted Get Fund buildings. And it baffles understanding.
Yeah, you had said you had identified how many of them that were about, is it 70 or 90% complete?
70% complete.
70% complete, and we are going to finish those ones.
So what we are...
Those were about how many? You gave a figure.
We need 622 classroom blocks in order to accommodate all the students who are going this year. So when you add that, it means that next year you need the same number of classrooms. So what we have decided to do, and with the approval of the president, is to look at a different way for Get Fund to do construction, as is done in other countries. When you know that you have a dedicated tax source and the revenue is going to come in, you don't wait to get the revenue every year and then you go and start a building and add on. I talk about how my father was a cocoa farmer, and to build his house, every year he molded some blocks, added on, and most people build afterwards.
That's right.
But when it comes to school construction, you cannot afford that. Because the children are here today, they are begging for space, and you are waiting every year. So in other jurisdictions, when you have a dedicated task source, you securitize it. So if you know that I need $1.5 billion to complete all buildings on all the campuses, what you do is that you look at Get Fund and say, okay, in 10 years' time, how much am I getting? And you can take 50% of it, as we are doing now, and the 50% that we projected will be about 1.5 billion. 500 million will build all uncompleted buildings in the senior high schools. 500 million will go to the universities to finish all. They also have a number of uncompleted blocks. And then 500 million go to basic schools to do away with all these dilapidated buildings that are falling on students. So with this plan, I have no doubt in my mind that we can use about 5 to 7 years, and double track will be a thing of the past.
And they ask about it.